Hello, I'm Dr. Webb, and I'm going to be showing you how to create your team project presentation using Office Mix for your training workshop. Now, I've gone through and looked at Movie Maker and I've looked at this Office Mix, and I think that Office Mix is truly going to be the easiest for you to incorporate everything that you need to and more, if desired, into this training video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically walk through a presentation that I created, that I just made up. I have some tips on some of the slides. I have information that you'd want to include in your own presentation. You'll obviously be switching between different presenters when you're doing your Office Mix. If you decide to use this product, the Office Mix product, which fortunately as UWG students you will have access to Office Mix by using Microsoft Office 2013. So here we go. I will be walking you through the different slides so you know what to expect for your own presentation. Enjoy. Welcome to my workshop entitled Developing the Leader in You. What I'm going to be doing, as I mentioned on my previous slide, is I'm going to be walking through a presentation much like your own presentation, where you'll be narrating what participants can expect in each section and each topic of your workshop. This way each presenter that will be presenting the different topics can get involved, can be seen. We can hear what you're going to be talking about, understand the objectives of your workshop, the different activities that you're going to be doing, and everyone else in the class can view your workshop video as well, because you'll be able to upload it to YouTube. So as you can see here, I developed this presentation called Developing the Leader in You. I put a quote, which is my personal quote of, if you're not leading, you're following. And the one thing that I wanted to mention is make sure that when you do develop your team project title for your training workshop, that it is creative. You want it to sound creative. Okay, the first thing that you're going to be doing is you're going to be introducing yourself or your team as presenters of this workshop. This way you can establish credibility and expertise right off the bat. You'll want to let them know who you are, what you bring to the table, and you can include a brief bio on the PowerPoint slide, but really you would probably want them to refer to your manual that will have a full information about who you are and where you come from. This is not meant to be cut and pasted into. This is meant to just highlight some of the important things about who you are and some of your experience and what you bring to the table. In your manual, it will be much more detailed. I also recommend that you have a page for each presenter instead of having three presenters on one page. It will look too cluttered and it won't look as nice, and you want to give yourself the attention that you deserve and recognition you deserve. This next slide is what is the leadership training all about. This would be your introduction to what the leadership training will be about, or what your training workshop will be about. Now notice I just have a title slide and I have people, a nice graphic image about leadership training. You can do the same. You can incorporate for this introduction just a picture and then narrate some of the important things that your participants will gain from this workshop, or you can include some finer points. Now you'll notice on the upcoming slides that you'll be indicating what the objectives of the workshop are. You want to make sure that you include those. So here on this slide is objective 1. You'll want to let your participants know what they'll be getting out of this workshop and what benefits they'll get. So I suggest, because of space, it's better to have more white space than less white space. You want to have less wordy slides than more wordy slides. So in this case, I'm putting an objective and a great graphic that goes along with it, corresponded, so it's nice and clean. On this page, you'll see objective number 2, and again, you'll read the objective to your participants, and you'll also let them know from a personal conversational standpoint how they can use this in their professional and personal lives. Finally, objective number 3. Once again, I have an image, a clean, clear slide that shows what the participants will gain from the workshop. Depending upon how many objectives you want to highlight or that you have, you're supposed to have between, I believe, 5 and 8 objectives total. So you can either include all 5 or all 8, or you could just pick and choose some of the main topics and then refer them to the training manual for the other topics. Hi everybody. Now that you introduced your training topic to your audience, or your training workshop to your audience, to your participants, now you're going to get into the actual workshop itself. We'll start with the icebreaker, and then we'll move gradually into the 3 topics that you'll be including. The one thing that you want to make sure is that you include all the details so that the participants will know what to expect in their training workshop. Hello, we're talking about icebreakers at this point, and this is where you start off your workshop and you try to get people comfortable and wanting to mingle and enjoy learning about different things with the other participants in the group. So I like to have slides with just images because it allows the participant to kind of anticipate what's coming next. So for example, I made up this slide, and basically it's about an icebreaker. It is, how well do you know yourself? So that's why I have this person with a little paper bag over his head. So now this next slide has, how well do you know yourself? And in here I have some tips, but basically you would include maybe a step-by-step of what participants will do. You might want to pose a question with some other questions. Depending upon what your icebreaker activity is, you'll include it in this location. So I'm going to give you some examples on the next couple slides of an icebreaker that I've used in my own training workshops. So in one of my training workshops for leadership, I had describe an effective leader, and I actually gave the participants index cards in a folder, and I had them indicate a name and relationship of someone that they know personally that they think is an effective leader, and I also had them think of a name of someone in the public eye or someone that they think is a good leader. And then I had them indicate why on this index card and give them 5 words to describe their character or who that person is. And then I actually gave them a sheet of different description words for people's personalities. From there, what I have the participants do is I have them introduce themselves to the group. So I'll have them indicate their name, their position. I want them to describe their job, which is more so for me as opposed to them, depending upon if you have a group of people from the same company or if you have different people from different companies. It gives them an idea. I want them to indicate the best part of their job. I want them to think about that so that we can tie in some of the things that they really like about their job to what I'll be training them on or giving them information about. The next thing is I like to ask them what are their 2 pet peeves related to leadership in the workplace, and I do this just so that I can understand some of the things that annoy them, so hopefully I can address them and even personally address their issues in the workshop itself. And the next thing, and the last thing, which is really important, I believe it is ask them what they'd like to gain from attending this workshop. People walk into workshops with preconceived notions of what they expect. If you up front have an idea of what they expect, then you're more than likely will be able to deliver on what they expect. So in this case, by asking this question and having them relay it, it helps a lot. We're at the stage of the game where we're actually going into the 3 main topics. And remember that each of these topics will have some activities, or at least one major activity. There'll be objectives. There'll be an introduction to what the topic is about. There'll be some guided practice where you're going through some of the things that they could do to make themselves better in whatever it is you're training them on. Then there's some independent practice where you give them an activity where they'll either work as a team or group or work individually on some of the things that they can do to demonstrate what you taught them. And then finally there'll be a summary section. So you want to make sure that you include this in every training topic. You'll be including this also in your training manual, so you won't have to be as detailed on these slides as you'll see from my examples upcoming. So topic one for my made up training workshop on leadership is called Perception is Reality, Developing Credibility. So when you're looking at perception is reality or developing credibility, notice that I have a nice slide that shows that it is a main topic. I also have an image that is clean and allows them to see, associate some type of an image with the topic. This next slide deals with where you would put your objectives. You want your participants to know right off the bat what you're going to be talking about is going to be meaningful and beneficial and will hopefully meet some of their own goals. So that's why I put on this slide, you will learn how to, you will be able to, you will demonstrate how. Each training topic will have at least 3 objectives. So by putting those objectives here, you'll be able to let your participants know what it is and you'll want to describe it to them in the slide. This slide would be where your introduction is. I have some tips on here that has to do with setting up imagery, making sure that you're, sometimes you don't have to put everything down. You definitely don't want to cut and paste a lot from your manual. You should just have a few words, some sections on these slides, but these slides should really be you talking them through it and not actually having all the words to what you want them to do. So for example, here's a slide, caution, credibility matters. I might use this slide as my introduction and just talk to you like I'm talking right now and just have this in the background, and I would talk about why credibility is so important, especially when you're dealing with leadership, and why you would want to make sure that you build and develop your credibility if you want to actually have people follow you and listen to you and understand you and want to work with you. So again, you don't have to have words. You can just have an image and then you can verbally talk about it, which would be more effective. This slide just reminds you of that your topic must include a graphic or image, and you'll notice that I have an image on each of my slides all the way through that will be specific to the topic. So this credibility meter is what I have as my image for credibility. In the upcoming topic on goals, you'll see another image for goals, and then a final topic I will have for an action plan, and there'll be another graphic that I'll associate with that. So in here, graphic images, you need your objectives, an introduction, your guided practice, your individual practice, and a summary. Here's another slide of just putting a graphic on your slide, and you can then discuss what they're going to be doing next. So this graphic says, what are they saying about you? It relates to credibility, and from here you can introduce the independent practice, the activity, you can indicate some guided practice of what they should be doing so that people say positive things about you. So again, you don't have to write a lot. Using image is much more effective. And finally, the summary slide for each topic. So here you'll see I've written some tips on it, but you're just going to summarize the main points of this topic. You might want to reiterate what they learn, maybe how they benefit, but not a lot of words, more talking about it. And the summary, if you wanted, you could just have a picture, and you could describe some of the main points as well. Now that we've gone through the first topic and you saw the different slides and the different formats, I wanted to talk to you about topic 2, and we'll move quicker through topic 2 and topic 3, but I just wanted to again give you an idea of what you will anticipate. Now the one thing is you'll be switching speakers or switching presenters, and you want to make sure that when you switch presenters that you do a transition between. So at the end of topic 1, you'd want to say, now we're going to go into topic 2, which is what's in your future, setting goals, and I'd like to introduce you to, and then you'd indicate the next speaker. In my case, because I'm doing this alone, I'm just moving forward, but do make sure that you have transitions between the speakers when you are doing your own presentations. So this topic on setting goals, you'll notice that the original slide that I just had a second ago had a catchy title again. And in this case, you would have I have a graphic that's associated with goals, which is a topic title. I have a slide for my objectives that I would describe to my participants so that they understand. Here's a slide that gets to the introduction of what SMART goals really are. So I will go through, which would be guided practice, and going through what SMART goals are. I would give them an idea to share their thoughts and maybe give me some of their own personal goals or SMART goals and how they relate to being smart. Then I'll give them an actual opportunity to create a goal. So in this case, I have the SMART goal requirements, which would be to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, and they would go through and create that goal. From there, I would have the participants, I would randomly or I would strategically pick people to share their goals, and then as a class we would make sure that things were SMART in terms of the requirements. So then from there, after that independent practice, I would ask them the question of thinking about their own SMART goals, seeing if they're actually able to reach those SMART goals. And you can use, even with this Office Mix, transitions. Like you'll notice that just popped into the screen when I hit the next space bar. So you can set up transitions and animations using your Office Mix. And this thing that flew in or bounced in says, how can you ensure all the SMART components are considered? So it's really a question to leave them thinking about what they just learned, how their goals are SMART, and how they can in the future set up SMART goals. I just included this to remind you about the graphic, the objectives, the guided practice or introduction, guided practice, individual practice, and summary. And then I left them with this thought as really almost like the summary, letting them know that their goals, I give them like a little pep talk of what they've done and how they can relate it to their personal and professional lives. And then this slide is the summary slide, which would then tie it all together once again. But you could just use a summary slide like I showed the slide before, where it's just an image and you conclude it verbally through this thumbnail as I'm doing myself. On to the next topic. Again, if I was in a team of 3 people, I would then at the end of topic 2 on that summary slide, I would make sure I'd have a transition to the next speaker, and the next speaker would talk about the third topic. And I created a catchy title called Lights, Camera, Action, and I called it the Leadership Action Plan along with a relevant graphic or image. This leadership action plan, from here I would talk about the introduction to what an action plan is and why they're going to be doing it, and letting them know that their action plan or their leadership potential is actually within themselves, and it's something that can be learned and put into place or into action. I would give them an activity where I would have them think about different qualities they want to work on, steps they need to take, steps to earn trust, steps to build credibility, different goals, and what different ways to motivate and delegate. Then from there, I would summarize that action plan through a picture and then move on to the conclusion. And in the conclusion, this would be the conclusion of the entire workshop and letting them know how you appreciate them working through all the different things. Because this is a video training presentation, you're basically going to be just hoping that the different topics were relevant and that they can see them as being useful. I like to end with a final thoughts, a quote or something, some kind of things to let them think about different things that we had discussed throughout the topic or throughout the training session as a whole. I will give a final image or maybe even a YouTube video, which is nice about this Office Mix is that you can incorporate YouTube videos directly and it will play as a movie, which is really nice. And then
He's walking. Stones is walking. Stones is walking. Holy cow. He is walking. He is walking and talking. How about that? Way to go, Stones. Way to go, man. Show mama how you can walk. Holy cow, Stones. You are walking and talking the game, man. You are walking and talking the game. You're mounting a comeback.
That previous slide was just a video that I had on my computer of my dog. So he actually suffered from something called FCE, which was a spinal cord embolism, and so that was like when he first walked for the first time after having the injury. But just so you know, wonder why we were like, oh, he's walking. But you can see it's so easy to incorporate a video just by putting the video in from that mix tab. You can actually play that. So you can play your video and explain the video afterwards or tie it into your training topics. It's so easy. So again, I wanted to thank you for everything. Take a look at this last slide. This is the slide that I end with my contact information. I have a thank you. I have any questions possibly. In this case, I have a quote that I shared with my group. You can also just thank the people for listening to what your training workshop is going to all be, what your training workshop is going to be all about. And I'm looking forward to seeing your presentations. Hopefully this gave you a good idea of what I'm expecting or what the gist is. And now it's your turn to put your creativity to use. Enjoy, have fun with this, be creative, and I will look forward to uploading it soon. Take care.